Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our monthly Lifewave Zoom, and I am Susan Allan. I am so excited to have you with us today because this is a topic of show we have not done so far. We've done 34 shows for you, and this is a new topic because we're adding something really unique, which is hormones. And we also, as our other guest, have someone who is an expert in stem cells. So this is remarkable, and I'm so excited to tell you about them. And just to remind you, we are not making medical claims. There is ample scientific data you can look at on the Lifewave site and all of our Lifewave Zooms, and then you can make the decision for yourself. So our first guest today is Lydia Martinez Ebling, and she is a certified fitness and nutrition specialist and a functional hormone coach as well. So welcome, Lydia.
Hey, thank you for having me, Susan. I'm so happy to be here.
We're thrilled, believe me. Welcome, welcome. And our second guest is lindatighe. And welcome, Linda, and I'll tell them about you in a minute.
Thank you, Susan. I'm really happy to be here as well.
Beautiful. And each of these guests has been a specialty in her field for a very long time. I mean, Lydia, for example, has been doing this for 25 years, and Linda has been doing this for a very long time as well. And she is a holistic health coach. And for a long time, she was a medical rep. And amazing to me, thrilling to me, Linda's specialty, among other things, was stem cells. So this, as you know, because this is Lifewave, this is what we focus on, the miracles of stem cell restoration, repair, de-aging, etc. So let's start with my very first question for Lydia, because Lydia, you have something called Hormone Health Hierarchy. Tell us about this.
Yeah. So all the time, clients or women will come to me and say, well, what do I need to do for my hormones? And it starts with the basics of what we call the hormone health hierarchy. So if you're visual individuals on here today, if you can picture a pyramid, and at the base of that pyramid, you're going to find food, right? Let food be thy medicine, medicine be thy food. That's going to be your base. Then we're looking at things that like strategic intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. Then we look at exercise and rest because they're equally important. Then we're looking at supplementation. And when I say supplementation, this is where we look at the Lifewave patches, but we can talk more in a second on where they can be advanced when it comes to that health hierarchy. And then we have things like BHRT, which is going to be a little bit smaller on the pyramid. And at the very top of the pyramid, really, really tiny, medication as little as possible, if not at all. And that's our hormone health hierarchy for people to focus and start getting their hormones in check.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And I am so much older than both of my guests. And I will tell you that when Lydia started to talk to me about this, I had not even realized the degree to which I had lessened my own hormones, because I went through menopause like 16 years ago. And I look a million times better. I feel a million times younger. And of course, that's all consistent with hormone, I don't know, repair, healing, miracles, call it what you will. So we'll hear more about this today. And Linda, I'm starting with your most amazing story, which is pain relief with Lifewave patches. And you have a client who was so desperate for pain relief that she was doing something crazy with bees. Okay, crazy in quotes, unique, let me put it that way, unique with bees. Tell us this.
Yeah, Susan. So I have a friend, her name is Maureen, and Maureen was diagnosed with MS 30 years ago. The medical doctors told her at that time that within 3 years, she would be in a wheelchair and she would be being spoon-fed because of the lesions in her brain. At the time, she had a 2-year-old son and a 5-month-old daughter. And so needless to say, that was devastating news. She decided not to take the medical route. She didn't want to do the typical drugs. She was introduced to something called apitherapy. And that is the practice of using the venom from the honeybees to reduce inflammation in your body. So she literally was stinging herself with bees anywhere from 8 to 12 times per session. She has been doing that for 28 years. So back in April, when I discovered these amazing stem cell activation patches, I called Maureen. I just happened to call Maureen. She happened to be at the hospital with her son, who had been diagnosed with MS 2 years prior. And the doctors were saying that his MS was progressing much faster than they anticipated. He's already losing his eyesight. He's walking with a cane. And she was crying on the phone. She was so devastated to be hearing this news. And I just happened to call her at that time. And I said, I didn't know anything, right? I mean, I just got introduced to the patches and I said, you need to try these patches. I want to give you some. Can I give you some of these? And she was like, okay, because, we've known each other for a long time. And so we met at a coffee shop. I gave her 5 patches and I said, put it at the base of your neck. And so she did. She called me a few days later and she said, I can't believe you brought these to me. She said, I've been looking for ways to get stem cell injections because it's really helpful for MS. And she said that within 20 minutes, putting the patch on the base of her neck, she said she felt this overwhelming feeling of calmness. And she said it was kind of like I felt this joy. And over the next few days, her inflammation came down significantly in her body. And the anxiety had dissipated. So she said she had just had this amazing energy and she was sleeping better. And she said, I don't know what's in the patch, but I have to get them. And she did, and she's been using them ever since. And her go-to most foundational patches would be the X39 and the Eon. And she does wear the X39 at the base of her neck, and she tends to put the Eon where she might have the most pain. If she's got inflammation in a certain area, she'll put it on there. She put it on her finger one time and just watch the inflammation go down. She'll use glutathione and carnosine, and she likes Alavita at night, but her foundation is the X39 and the Eon.
Thank you. And for those of you who've watched the show I did a number of months ago with Dr. Patty de Blasio, who's an MD who has been diagnosed with MS, she taught me about the 2 Icewave sets that she uses daily because it has the ability to reset the pain response system. And that was new information to me. So as a reminder, anyone who emails me, I'm delighted to send you the 12 pain relief protocols. And one of them is Dr. Patty de Blasio's. And so it's so fascinating to me that people can have the same medical diagnosis. They can all be using Lifewave, and they can be using different Lifewave patches, and each having the end of symptoms. The symptom relief is the common denominator, and they're reaching it through a different path. It's fascinating me, So let's now talk, Lydia, about your client, Teresa. Again, a hormone issue, post-menopause. And please tell us what the patching protocol is, what the results were, and placement is really helpful. So do each of you today, please make sure you tell us that. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So Teresa, she's a client of ours. She's been with us for a while. She's lost over 100 pounds. She was doing great. Stress impact hit her really big. Not only that, postmenopausal. We have started on a protocol. She was doing well. Then we started her on X39, just the basics. So I'm not going to give you some big protocol. It's the basics of the hormone health hierarchy, but just adding in the X39 in a very, very short period of time. First thing, within a 24-hour time frame, she sent a text, and my sleep improved. And it's not just that she knew that she slept better. She looked at her sleep tracking. That was the only thing that changed. And then in a very short period of time, her energy's up and her outlook on life. Now, why is that important? Because the stress response. When we have a high stress response, it's hard to have a a quality outlook on life. So just to have that switch was huge. And I'm telling you, in a very short period of time, just with the X39.
Thank you. And it's just fascinating. It's fascinating. If I pull or push or whatever, stress some part of my body, if it's nighttime, I've got Eon on. So I'll move the Eon to my lower back or wherever. If it's daytime hour and I'm swimming and something, pulls or pushes, that's when I wear the X39. I move the X39. And so what I'm going to be doing by next month for our show is I'm going to have a whole list of localized patching protocols. And I'm looking forward to gathering them from both of my guests today, among others, because this is so new to some people. They just read the booklet and they hear, okay, I put the X39 behind the back of my neck or below my belly button, etc., and then they're done. Well, yeah, you could be done. And you have a lot more options. And I love the localized patching protocols because we're going to talk about something that happened to a husband of one of my guests, and it also happened to me, and it was solved with the patch very quickly. And I'll tell you, I had a client years ago before I learned about Lifewave. He spent so long in the hospital and it was a nightmare. Mine went away in 5 minutes. You want to hear about that, right? Okay. So let's talk, Linda, about Damien. Damien had really awful hip pain. He was looking at hip replacement surgery. That is a cascade of suffering and misery. I know a lot of people who've had to do it. It's the pain of the joint to begin with. It's the pain of surgery. It's the pain meds. It's the recovery. And then it's the excruciatingly painful physical therapy. So please tell us what happened with Damien.
Yeah, thank you, Susan. So Damien, he's just an awesome, wonderful person. He owns this beautiful store in downtown Wellesley. It's called London Harness. And the retail business is really rough on your body. I don't think I don't know that people think about it, but you're doing a lot of standing and lifting and pulling things all the time for years, right? And so I had heard that he was in severe pain. He's literally holding his hip, hobbling around, not able to lift anything. And so I thought I would be remiss if I did not tell him about these patches. I had no idea how he was going to respond to it. And so I went down to the store and I brought a little patch, and I said, I don't know how open you are to this. I know this looks like a little Band-Aid, but I said it's, and I explained how it worked. And I said, are you open to it? And he said, sure, I have nothing to lose. So I literally stuck it on the back of his neck. And he texted me that night and he said, I don't know what's in that patch, but I was pain-free for 2 hours today. I need to get these patches. So I met with him and I said, because of the severity of your pain, I do recommend that you get Eon in addition to that and the Icewave to help with the pain, the acute pain right now. And so he did. And he said, do you have any of those X39? Because I don't want to wait for them to come in. So I gave him some X39 to wear while he was waiting for his order to come. And when it got there, I said, keep the X39 on the base of your neck, put the Eon right on the point of pain, right on your hip. And I really, being sort of new to Icewave, I'm going the traditional route of put the Icewave, the brown patch on the pain, move the white one around. Like magic, his pain completely disappeared. And I think it was probably about a week and a half in, he texted me and he said, I just have to tell you, I ran up the stairs today. And he said, I even skipped 2 stairs. You know how you do when you run up the stairs. And he said, I wasn't really thinking about it. And just, this is just really interesting too. He went on vacation in August. So this is before I introduced him to the patches. And he couldn't walk on the beach. He couldn't lift his luggage. He was in severe pain the whole time. His family, he and his wife and his family went to the same place in October. He lifted his luggage. He not only was able to walk the beach with no pain, but he was climbing the sand dunes. So he said it was literally like night and day. And he tells everyone his story, and he has gotten so many people out of pain himself just by sharing his story. So really, it's so fulfilling to help somebody get out of pain. It's just an amazing thing. It's just really joyful.
Thank you so much. And I actually ran over to my neighbor last week who suddenly had horrible dental pain. And she couldn't get to the dentist because Santa Barbara was expecting really scary weather. So she had to postpone the dentist. So I had her put in X39 and then 2 eons in the kissing technique that I created, where the edges are touching, they're not overlapping. And while I was sitting there, she starts to smile and relax, and she's a whole regular person again. So how thrilling, you know? And you're going to tell us now, Lydia, you're going to tell us about Dr. Carla, who also had a pain issue. Tell us, please.
Yeah. So Dr. Carla, she was a client of ours, was struggling with Graves' disease, not now. But she had COVID back in the summer. And since having COVID, she recovered, but she was still having aches. And being a doctor, she's constantly on her feet. And so achy joints just doesn't help you with the job that you're doing. She started on the X39 and her pain has subsided. She's doing very long hours. She's not having the pain issues that she was having. Also adding in the Eon, which is a powerful patch, as Linda was sharing. We like to have our clients put it on the pain of area, especially if they're doing any strength training and long hours like Carla's doing. So she's got amazing results with that. And she has her sons using them now because they're very athletic and young and in sports.
That's so fabulous. I mean, every time I hear one of these stories, you know, I just feel so, so grateful. You know, actually for me, grateful to have lived long enough to find these patches is really how I would express it, you know? So Linda, would you please tell us about the X39 patch and the Eon patch and explain to everybody what they are?
Okay, so this basically is wearable light technology. And David Schmidt, the inventor of this incredible technology, was working with the Navy SEALs, and he was tasked with helping them have better endurance, right? Because they have tough missions, and they need to have endurance and not be taking caffeine and things that are going to actually ruin their performance rather than enhance their performance. And he was doing it through light therapy. And he was able to, over time, harness that light therapy into a little organic crystal lattice in this little patch. It looks like a Band-Aid. It is way more than a Band-Aid. And in the center here is this crystal lattice, and it's organic, made out of sugar, salts, amino acids, and things like that. So we all know, just to sort of give you an example, we all know that when you go out in the sun and the sun hits your skin has photoreceptors, and that light frequency from the sun going through those photoreceptors tells your body, elevate vitamin D. So we already know that, right? We know, go out in the sun and get your vitamin D. So this works the same way. You put the patch on your skin, except it is utilizing the light in your body. So the heat of your body is actually a form of infrared light. The military know that, right? Because they wear those night goggles so they can see people. And the reason they can see them is because we're actually emitting this form of infrared light. So when you put the patch on your skin, that light activates these crystals in the patch, and then they're able to reflect back a specific light frequency that's going to elevate different peptides in the body. So the X39 elevates something called GHK copper peptide. And if you haven't read about it or researched it, I encourage you to go look up GHK copper peptide. It's literally the holy grail of reverse aging. I know we're talking about pain and hormones, but it really, X39 does, stem cells do everything because they're pluripotent, so they're going to do everything. And the thing is by the age 30, we have lost more than 50% of our stem cells are dormant. They become dormant. And that's because of inflammation in your body and all kinds of things that are going on that affect our stem cells. And by age 60, we've lost almost 100% of that activity of our stem cells. So imagine now the GHK copper peptide is going to be elevated, is activating those stem cells, activates your stem cells, makes more stem cells, and resets your stem cells to a younger, healthier state. So within literally 24 hours, this begins to increase the antioxidant. It resets 3,000 to 4,000 genes to a younger, healthier state, and essentially resetting, repairing your DNA back to a healthier state. So, and then of course, I know we're talking about pain and hormone, but I just have to say, that collagen is the most abundant protein in your body. And so this is also going to provide rapid repair of collagen in your body. And who doesn't want to have their collagen repaired, because we can see that on our skin. And so we often also notice, I like to call it a side effect, because the thing that was most important, right, is healing our bodies. But the side effect is that you're going to start to look younger. Your skin has a healthier glow. You start to reduce those fine lines and wrinkles. And that's really a big benefit. So you've already heard us say, gives you more energy, clarity of mind, and reducing pain. And the list goes on. There's so many things, because, as I said, stem cells they're like little honing devices, and they're going to go to wherever your body needs that healing. So that brings me to the Eon. So the Eon is a great complement to the X39, because the X39, because it's elevating that GHK copper peptide, stem cells are attracted to inflammation in your body, right? Because they know inflammation means there needs to be some healing done. But stem cells are destroyed. Inflammation destroys your stem cells, right? So it's kind of they go there, they get destroyed by inflammation, and Eon actually reduces inflammation in your body. It levels up antioxidants so that it's able to bring down oxidative stress or inflammation. But the really amazing thing that I learned about Eon, which I think is incredible, is it comes from studying bees. So his whole curiosity about it comes from studying bees. So David Schmidt met this scientist who was studying why does the queen bee live literally 60 times longer than the worker bees, and the worker bees and the queen bee have their identical genetically. So there is no difference. So what is it? How does she live longer? And what they found is because she's fed only the royal jelly. The other bees are fed the subpar, honey. And in that royal jelly is this peptide. So this peptide, this scientist got curious, is this the reason? And found out through all his research that indeed was the reason. And David Schmidt discovered that we humans actually create that peptide in our liver. So, and our liver really plays a central role in sensing of and the response to systemic inflammation in our body. So by activating that peptide, we're able to reduce inflammation in our body. Eon does so many things. It's an amazing patch. I wear it every day with the X39. Sometimes I wear it at night also, because it also calms the brain. So people find they feel this, we call it the happy patch, because people feel this sort of calm and sense of joy, and a lot of people comment on that. So they're very synergistic in working together, and I really they're my foundation for just about everybody.
That is the best description I have heard, not only this is the 35th show. I would love you, if you're willing, to transcribe it and send it to me, so that every one of you who wants that, and I thank you. I see somebody shaking his head. I appreciate it. Thank you. And yeah, send me an email. We will have Linda's transcription of that. And also, Lydia, you have so much important information. Send me a transcription of what you would be willing to type out, and just email me, everybody, and I will send it to you. Also, the patching poster gives you the actual description from the Lifewave company of every single patch. And that's kind of hard to find on the site, so you can email and ask me. And then also the very unique protocols from Micah Levi Clark from a couple of months ago. Those are really interesting to people. And he goes into the Superman protocol, which is what I'm on. And it works. It really works. Okay, so let's see, where are we? So skin, Lydia. Corey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Corey had a horrible case of psoriasis, and you guided him to another miracle. Sorry.
we specialize in, when we do work with men, but we specialize in women's hormone health. And Linda, yes, that was amazing. I just have to say that you're so smart. I'm so glad that I know you. Corey, and again, very short period of time. She's just getting started with us as a client, and we are incorporating and recommending the X39 to all of our clients, and she has incorporated the X39, and she says, I'm seeing a difference in my skin. She deals with psoriasis. So it's supporting, right now she's on a cleanse phase that we take all our clients through. And she's added in the X39 with that and already seeing a difference. So we're very excited to see after the whole phase and first 30 days where she actually is.
That's, that's huge. That's just, I mean, just imagine when one has a symptom that's a miserable symptom, and then on top of it, when it's a visible symptom, that really makes life so tough. Then, of course, we're talking next with Linda about a symptom not visible, but so frightening, so incredibly frightening. And this is the one I was referring to, that I solved it for myself in literally 5 minutes with Lifewave patches. It came back a couple of days later, solved it again in, like 5-10 minutes. And Linda, tell us about your husband.
So my husband, it seems like a long time. It's hard to know, because I think that something that we all have to think about is that we get used to how we feel, and it becomes the new normal. And you sort of like, oh, you kind of think, oh, it's not a big deal. And so he's been doing this coughing thing, like coughing, clearing his throat, and it's been kind of progressively getting worse. And we really thought, is it allergies? Is it mold? Like, what is it and of course, we didn't go to the doctor to find out, right? So he didn't go to anybody to find out. And so when I got the patches, he was interested in wearing the patches as well. And he put the X39 on, and I was talking to my friend Lynn, who's in the audience today, and she's a nurse, and she heard him in the background doing his coughing thing. And I said, oh yeah, and he's got allergies or something. And she goes, that's not allergies, Linda, that's acid reflux. And I was like, oh. And then of course, Ken was like, oh yeah, I get heartburn when that happens, all these things that I had no idea, things that he was like not really thinking too much about. And I don't know how long it took, because again, it was like the new normal, but about a month into us wearing the patches, I said, I haven't heard you cough or clear your throat or do any of that. And he was like, oh yeah, I haven't been. And so it's completely gone away, and it has not come back. And I am so grateful for that, because I was getting worried about it. It was like, why are you doing this all the time? There's got to be something. Obviously, there's a break in the homeostasis in his body. And so I'm so grateful that it's working. He wears the X39 and the Eon.
And, for
And
me,
the X39, he does below his belly button. I like it at the base of my neck. He likes it below the belly button. So
interesting. And for me, it happened when I ate late in the evening. And then it happened because I then lay down on my back to do my meditation, which I do every night. And who knew that that's a combo, don't eat late. And if you're going to eat late, don't lie down on your back. But literally, I know that, tens of thousands of people around the world are calling for emergency care when they have the symptoms I had. It is so frightening. Tightness in the chest, radiating down the arms. We know what that means, except I moved my Eon onto my chest, and in 5 minutes, all the symptoms were gone in the front of my body. And then after that was over, I moved the Eon on the back, and 5 minutes later, those symptoms were completely gone. Just completely gone. And it was eating too late, lying on my back. Okay, well, I'm sorry, but I did the same thing a couple of nights later, not so bright. And again, the symptoms were gone. Now, even less time, because it didn't take me time to figure out what to do. I already knew what to do. And that time I just grabbed another Eon. So I had an Eon on the front and an Eon on the back. And it actually healed me, because I started using the X39 during the day right there, and then a little bit lower. And what's fascinating is that all happened about a week, 10 days ago. 2 nights ago, I decided to have Thai soup. And it was about 8:30 at night, and Thai soup is spicy. And I had no awareness, no problem, no symptom, gone. So the repair that Linda was talking about and that Lydia was talking about, the repair that occurs in our body with these patches is astounding. And Lydia, you had an experience yourself with your hamstring. Tell us about that.
Yes. So I was introduced to the patches, but what caused me to actually try the patches had nothing to do with my hamstring. I was one of my friends, she's a specialist in skincare, and she started talking about it. And Linda sent us the patches. I'm like, okay, it's going to get rid of wrinkles. I have to use these patches. So yeah, I'm putting them everywhere. That's the thing. Just tell me, I'll do it. But in the meantime, within 3 days, what I was dealing with was a pulled hamstring. I was struggling with it for probably about 8 weeks. It had healed, but I didn't have complete relief. And I was doing all the things. I always talk about, I'm doing all the things. I was stretching, I was doing my baths, Epsom salt, and it just wasn't getting relief. I was using the X39 because I wanted no wrinkles. And by the third day, I messaged Linda and said, call me crazy, but my hamstring is not hurting. And that's where we were, from that moment, I said, these patches need to be incorporated in the protocols that we use with our clients. Our clients need to know about these patches. It's amazing.
Beautiful, just beautiful. And now, to me, the newest thing of everything I learned about Lifewave is the fact that the ice wave resets the pain response system in the body, which was something I learned from Dr. Patty de Blasio. And she said she actually found it on the Lifewave site on the page for the ice wave patches. So just to let you know, there's so much information about each patch on the site. And today is the first time I knew about the Navy SEALs and David Schmidt, the inventor of the patches, thanks to Linda. So Linda, would you tell us about the ice wave patches, please?
I would love to. The ice wave patches are magical. I will just say before I explain how they work, don't do what I did. Pay attention to how they're supposed to work. I was giving everyone one white patch. I was like, because I just had used the X39, and I was like, pulling them out, here, try it. And people were like, okay, well, I don't know if I really feel anything or not. And then I pulled out a brown patch when I got through with the white ones, and I thought, either there's something wrong with the patches or I don't know something, right? So anyway, I figured out that IceWave is a 2-patch system. And the really interesting thing I think about IceWave is that they utilize the principles of Oriental medicine and needless acupuncture to gently stimulate points in the body that have been used to balance and improve the flow of energy. So that's really, really important. So there's a tan patch, which is the negative patch, if you're thinking in terms of acupuncture, and that goes on the point of pain. And then there's the white patch, which is the positive patch, and that you're going to move around. So the really traditional, like if this is how you use it. There are other more advanced ways, and we experiment with these patches. So I hope you're getting that too. There's kind of like no wrong way to use them. You're gonna try it on your body, and you're gonna figure out how it works. But IceWave goes on the point of pain. The brown one, the white one goes around. I guess this way would be clockwise, right? Every 10 seconds, you move it around until at one point you will find a place where either the pain will be significantly reduced, or it will be it'll go away completely. So it's really, really, really incredible. And I just want to say, pain, since we're talking about pain is a resistance or a blockage of flow of energy, right? So these patches, kind of the overarching thing that they do is they increase energy production in the cells so that we can improve tissue conductivity, and then we get pain relief from that. Because when you have increased energy in the cell, you can get the cell to behave like a younger, healthier cell, and younger, healthier cells don't have pain. So X39 and Eon are for long-term relief of pain and deep healing, and IceWave would be for that acute pain. So immediate benefit is relief of pain. Big picture, reverse aging.
Beautiful, beautiful. And you are each so fabulous. I want to give you each a chance to say something extra that maybe we didn't talk about. So I'll let Lydia add anything that you think our audience, which will be thousands and thousands of people over time on my YouTube channel. So is there something that each of you wants to add? Lydia, if you would.
Well, I mean, there's a lot. So in a very short period of time, one, to add to what Linda was just talking about, as far as the ice wave, you think about that of the acute pain. We're so quick to take a pill to get rid of an ache. And yeah, it's shutting down that pain, but it's disrupting the flow in which Linda was talking about, the energy flow, to where you have the ice wave, to where it's going to keep that energy flow and recovery and help with the reduction of inflammation. Leading me to inflammation is always the number one issue. It's the stress. So, and it contributes to gut disruption, liver dysfunction, or gunked up liver, hormonal imbalance, and weight gain. So people always ask me, what should I do? Well, there's a lot, but when we're talking about Lifewave patches, X39, the Eon, and glutathione is your first step when it comes to just balancing hormone, because you've got to get that inflammation down and improve that liver function and improve that gut health. There you go.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Linda, what would you like to add today?
I'll just to piggyback on what Lydia mentioned in what she just said. At the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, where I got my certification as a holistic health coach, they talk about primary food and secondary food. Secondary food being the actual food that we eat, primary food being our stress levels and our emotional health. And it was the first time that I really learned that your stress has far more to do with inflammation in your body than even the food that you eat. So it's something to take very seriously. And, you know, X39 and Eon both help to balance and calm the brain and help to bring the stress levels down. And I've heard so many people since my friend Maureen first said that she felt peaceful and she felt joyful. I've heard people say, I just feel like my brain has calmed down. I just feel, you know, just less stressed out. And so I think that's really important. And it's super simple to just put a little patch on. You kind of forget that it's there, and you know, you don't have to take any pills and no injections, no anything. And so I love these patches. I think it's the most extraordinary health technology I've ever come across.
We all agree with that. You know, we certainly, all three of us, and I'm sure most of you who are listening as well. And thank you so much, each of you. Thank you, Lydia Martinez Ebling. Thank you so much for being our guest today. It was really thrilling, and I look forward to having you again. And thank you, Lindatighe, who really put the show together by introducing me to Lydia as well. So thank you so, so much. I'm truly, truly grateful. And again, we will be sure to have you back. You know, as soon as we can schedule all this, we want you back again, that's for sure. And so some things that are opportunities for all of you who watch this whenever you do. First of all, these shows about 7 to 10 days after we're live, they are all at youtube.com/Susan Allan 2001. And that's ALLAN, and that's me. And your playlist, just life shows, this will be the 35th that we have posted there. We have a lot of amazing. The second thing I want you to know is, if this is interesting and you don't already have patches, please contact your friend who told you about this show or told you about Lifewave. Get with them and make sure you have them, because all the information in the world isn't going to eliminate symptoms. It's actually having patches and putting the patches on that is the miracle, I can tell you. And then the second thing is, please email me if you want the patch poster, if you want the transcription from Dr. Rhonda Donahue, if you want Micah Levi Clark's different protocols, and if you want the 12 pain relief protocols that I've put together so far. And Linda and Lydia are each going to send me a part of transcription of what they said today that was so valuable and really so powerful. And so I'm thrilled to have had you with us. Our next show is February 9th, And it is always once a month. It's always the second Thursday. And it is always 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern, and of course, various times around the world. And we have only space for 100 of you. So please come on the Zoom as early as you can, and do tell your friends, because when we need 200 spaces, I promise I'll get them. Okay. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your week. Thank you so much. Bye, Lydia. Bye, Linda. And bye, everybody. See you next month.